Hi, third graders. I'm going to do a demo of drawing a Sandra Silberswig expressive portrait. When we say expressive, it means instead of trying to be super realistic, that there are some things changed, maybe shapes in the face or the expression, and then certainly color and pattern later. I have a pencil, I have a piece of paper, and I'm going to start actually by folding this piece of paper in half. We might be working with different size papers. It's good if we all know where the middle of our paper is. Now right along this fold line, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the nose. And often Sandra Silberswig uses kind of a bubble letter L shape to mark where that nose is going to be. And I am occasionally going to get hit bumps from my stand that I have the iPad on, so that's why my line is a little wobbly right there. Once I know where my nose is, I'm going to go ahead and put in some eyes. So I'm going to start with a football shape right here. And put in a pupil and an eyelid. I'm going to go on the other side. The pupil and an eyelid. Here I'm going to add some eyebrows. I'm going to turn this one out to create an expression over here. And you'll notice if I had an eyebrow pointing in like this, it would look more angry. Just like a rainbow like this is kind of a neutral expression. Once I have that put in, I'm ready to kind of take my pencil. I'm going to go along the side here. I want to leave enough room for a mouth, and down and around. I'm going to add my neck. Nice and wide, no tiny little lollipop neck, and some shoulders. When you're adding your mouth, an easy way to start is with the kind of smile for the bottom, then a line, and then you can add your top lip, not as thick. Now one of the things Sandra Silberswig tends to do is she tends to divide up the face into some different areas so she can add different colors and patterns. I'm going to kind of take this cheek and draw an oval shape here. I think I'm going to have this area around this eye marked off. If I wanted to add an ear. And this is also a time where if you wanted a suggestion of hair in the background or over the forehead, like maybe I'm going to make it look like there's some hair slanting across here, but I'm keeping my shapes and lines really simple. So when I said this is when it's an expressive portrait, right now there's obviously a little bit of Mrs. Heckendorf that's kind of worried because of all the news and everything that's going on. Our situation has really changed. There's also part of me that's hopeful that we're going to be out and about and back at school pretty soon. So I'm trying to show both those sides in my expressive portrait. It expresses my emotions. And so over here, I think to kind of show that idea of hope, I'm going to add a sun coming up out of the edge. To show that that's coming. Kind of a symbol of hope. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add some stripes up here that'll be part of a pattern and design later. And over here, one of the things that's making me feel better when I'm sad is my family and love. So I'm going to go ahead and add a heart in the background here with some wavy lines around it. Kind of a symbol of the power of love. So in an expressive portrait. So I realize it's probably going to take a little bit of time for you to decide where you want to kind of make these divisions in your face, maybe change some of the things in it. So I would pause here and take a little bit of time to work on that, and then we can talk about adding color. So when you start to think about adding colors to these are expressive portraits. They don't necessarily need to be the colors that a real person would be, and if you look at Sandra Silberswig work, it certainly isn't. I'm going to think about colors that express the emotions on each side. I know for sure, and I'm going to tell you I have markers here, I have crayons, I have gel pens. Because I'm an art teacher, I happen to have some crayons at home, but whatever materials you have, gel pens, even paint would work for this. So I definitely want this sun to be shining brightly, to really stick out in my picture. This is the hope for when we are all back to school and back to our normal routines. And I'm going to be coloring this in with crayon in a little bit to finish that. I think because I already said this other side, this is where my kind of like worried feelings, maybe a little more sad. When I try to think of colors, maybe a little less happy. When you could say you're feeling blue, today that's going to be very true in this portrait. This part of it is going to be blue. So I'm going to work for a little while in time lapse so you can see how I start to fill this in. Remember, whatever materials you have at home will work. You are not stuck to the rules that skin has to be skin colored or hair has to be hair colored. If you need to go back and take a look at Sandra Silber's work, her work in the slideshow, and that will give you some ideas, I'm sure. So if you've spent some time looking at the slides of Sandra Silber's work, you'll also notice that she uses a lot of pattern on top of here. I colored a lot of my background areas with crayon because I knew I was going to go back in on top. So to give you an example of the kind of thing I'm thinking of, maybe in here on top of this area of the face that I colored, I can go right on top with blue marker and a simple pattern. I'm going to add some stripes to this area. And I don't think I'm going to go above the eye here. I'm just going to keep it below the eye. And I'm going to make these really touch tight to the bottom of the eyelid. So here I have a more patterned area. It's bothering me that these are not touching. Then I might think about going to the other side and looking for an area where I can kind of do the same thing, add an area of pattern. So here where the sun is shining on the face, I think I'm going to have it look like some warmth lines. It's kind of what I'm thinking of with this pattern here. Shining on the face. So I'm going to continue working on this in time lapse. What I really don't want you to do is to copy exactly what I'm doing, but just take ideas from this and Sandra Silber's work. Because with expressive art, the whole point is to be expressing what's inside of you to the outside world. Sandra uses her art to deal with a lot of her feelings and emotions, and so I'm hoping that this will be a chance for you to express what's inside of you. So here is my finished expressive portrait, showing that yes, right now I'm feeling some feelings of sadness or worry, but I'm using the love of my family and friends to get me through. And here's my hopeful side, waiting for when things kind of get back to normal. I use the sun to express that, and I know in our neighborhood people have been posting pictures of rainbows. I use brighter, warm colors on this side. So I know in times like this, when I do art, I kind of lose track of time. It kind of helps me feel better. I hope it can do the same for you. I would love to see your creations on Seesaw, and I'll talk to you next time.